Okay. Oh, good. Got some catalogers joining. Okay. So Bellingham uh, recently discovered a number of ebook records where in the description there are like non-functioning links. So I'll show you an example. Okay, so well, it's not gonna. Okay, well, here it is. Great. Okay, so in this ebook description, we can see down here at the bottom, we've got a bunch of like, click here for this um extra article, or you know, for this whatever. Um, and in an effort to improve accessibility, they're thinking that they would like to remove this kind of content from descriptions of um, ebooks. So, which is interesting because these stupid pop-up pages can't even formally, like, they can't even be assessed for accessibility um, through like the Wave app. Um, like it just doesn't like register. Um, like it just doesn't really say anything because it's not getting the coding correctly. So, sorry. Um, however, like it raises the question of, like trying to be responsible for the records that we have in our libraries and, making sure that um, they would function with the screen reader because you cannot click on these. So I did a search since Bellingham's going to kind of work on their own, I think. I did a search in Big Bend for an all titles search from the description field for the text of click here, because like we know there aren't active URLs in the descriptions, so click here is never going to be a thing. So the issue becomes these are community zone portfolios. So I was like, what can we do? What do we do? Like, what is a feasible solution? And I'll share with you what I came up with, but I'm hoping that some of our wiser catalogers might have some insights. So I went in and edit the record, and you'll see this is a community record. So it's basically, like it's going to be view only, but I can wait, why? Okay, well, cool. Now this one's behaving totally differently than the last one that I was working on. Um, but we can't edit these. So like if I go to do this um, and save, why is it let, oh, okay, see, there we go. So we're about to update a community record. It will affect all Alma customers. So we don't want to save these changes. There we go. So no. So one of the things that I was thinking that we could do is copy to catalog. So then when we copy to catalog and we get rid of all of these, um, and we hit save, we now have a record with this description. Still a good description. It just doesn't have all those stupid URLs. But, and this is where cataloger wisdom, when you have community zone electronic collections, and then you essentially localize this bib record, it's unlinking from the community zone. And so obviously it's not going to get like updates.
The bib record wouldn't get updates. Updates to the portfolio record would still happen.
So if like coverage changed or inclusion in the electronic collection changed, the portfolio would get
Yeah.
updated.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It is
good.
possible to relink it. Like once it's a local one, I think you can
Mhm.
relink it, like, or the
So
portfolio at least.
okay. So if we go back here to the one I just fixed, and we've got this, and now we do but where? Because I think I recall that too. Okay, view portfolio. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this is so it's still got global. Um, would you need to relink the bib record? I guess is the question. Like, what do you lose by having the bib record in your local catalog and being able to like edit it for accessibility?
You just lose any changes that get made to the community zone version of the bib record, which maybe you want and maybe you don't. Isaac says he'd be more inclined to hide the URLs with a norm rule, and I kind of agree. Or I'd even I know there's an eLuna committee that's or working group that specifically works on community zone like rules, norm kind of things. And I look at that BibRecord as a cataloger and I'm going, why did somebody stick a URL in a description
Yeah.
field? They don't belong there.
Mhm.
So I would be contacting that group and Ex Libris to say, here are a whole bunch of things where there are URLs in fields that should not have them. These URLs need to be deleted at the community zone level.
Okay. Do we think that that could like ever actually get done in a reasonable time frame?
Do you happen to know, Carly, about how Ex Libris is approaching Title II, like in general?
I think that with the new Primo NDE, um, they are more or less like setting aside like significant accessibility changes in Primo V because they're putting all their effort on that new one. And I am working on trying to get like a dev environment of that up so that we can start looking at the accessibility of it. But but it's, yeah, it's tough to know. They're not really, I haven't seen any like official announcements directly discussing Title II. Of course, they're always like, it will be more accessible. We'll have to look at that. So yeah, so I was also kind of circling back. I was also thinking, is there a way to change the normalization rule for display? And so I went to configuration, discovery, other, and then it's what, no, that's not it. What is it? It is display configuration and manage display and local fields. And you can add a display field and do description, and then you get this Mark 21 normalization rule for display, and you can't like add any additional rules, but you can change this rule. I am not good enough with norm rules. Like, I tried many different versions of trying to do anything to remove variable content, remove like, like if includes, click here, like
Yeah, and
replace.
that's going to be a problem too, because the phrasings on these things are going to be so wildly variable that it's going to be hard to have a single rule that would find out.
Cover it. Oh, a regex for the URLs. Yeah, potentially. Well, and I was just going with as simple as like the uh like just searching all the titles, and thank you, Ellie at Bellingham, for like, I was overthinking this search a lot, but basically all titles where click here is in the description, because I was like, at least that's a start. Because yeah, once you like look at the record, like now we've got,
Like,
this doesn't actually, like
all
this
that
only has,
description is URLs.
and it's like basically all of that could be taken out. But
Can you scroll
like,
up? I want to see where this record originally came from.
There were 83 hits, right?
yeah, in Big Bend.
And Wacom too.
Yeah, and there's
I-
like there were only 50 at Bellingham Tech, so like
Oh, really? Okay.
they're doing better. A lot of them come from EBSCO ebooks collection.
Yeah, that I think that one started out as a ProQuest vendor record.
So it's like, well, and it looks
Yeah.
like a lot of it is just cross promotional bologna sandwich. Oh, wildcard search. Yeah, let's see how many come up when we do this. So 956, and if we turn that into,
Do you want to use the description index rather than contains keywords, or you going for both? Will that pick up the 856s or?
yeah, it's in the description, and then you can do contains
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
keyword or phrase.
Small
So
screen.
yeah, sorry. Here, let me. So like now we have over 1,000, but then you've got titles like this where like web application. What have we got? You know, like that's legitimate.
Maybe do an Alma Analytics report instead, because that would let you do the more regex type stuff, and it would let you search for something with the colon double backslash.
Okay. So the titles, yeah. And
Is it regex or regex?
I have no
got me.
idea.
Is it like GIF or GIF?
It could be.
Yeah, same results. Okay, so an analytics report, we would be looking for, but see, like DC description isn't the 520 field, is it?
No, I'm not sure what subject area that is. Oh yeah, Nicole, maybe they are forward slashes. I get my forward slashes and backslashes mixed up. I think that bibliographic details.
So there's,
No, that's like a
yeah,
different metadata format standard. That might have to be a
hold on.
oh shoot, yeah, like maybe to search the 520 in Alma Analytics, you have to have Ex
The
Libris.
custom add it.
Yeah,
Mm,
so maybe not. So maybe that's a
well, Mark
normal then.
21 keyword search indexes are, yeah, so they're here,
Indication.
but where? All titles. It says description, but it's not showing up.
Abby posted a link in chat.
There's like, so I was looking at the bibliographic details in analytics. It doesn't look like it's there.
Yeah.
I see a local note, but this was, what was it, a 520? I'm not seeing a
Yeah.
520. Which is dumb.
Yeah.
The whole
We
thing
could
about
do
not being
500 general note, but
not being able to query all of the mark fields in Alma Analytics annoys me. But that's what we're supposed to use indication rules for, as Isaac points out in the chat.
Yeah. But like, so then how do you write an indication rule? Like, it's so, yeah, so
I'd maybe do it with a bunch of, like, try a couple different indication rules. So have one indication rule that looks for a 520 with HTTP colon double slash anything, HTTPS colon double slash, click here,
mhm.
try multiple rules.
what's an indication rule? I remember
It's
with
a norm
normalization.
rule, except indication
It's a
rules, norm
binding.
rules are kind of the same. Norm rules change the field. Indication rules just query the field.
Oh,
Well, and I was looking at like anything, so like when 520 exists, set indication to true. So that would probably be your first one. And then you just want to build on to that. But what's nice about indication rules is you can now do them in a form. So like, let's say query URLs in description. Looking for with one. So record type is bibliographic, mark, great. So now we can say field and we don't need any. Okay. Exists. So is not empty. And then and contains let's duplicate, no, add, but we want that to be, nope, see there. Aha, okay. There we go. Go. Yeah, having the form for these is cool.
That really is much nicer.
Mm. And it's that way. The worst. Oh yeah, look up in the URL bar, Carly. Okay, so now we say save. Cool. Now we can what's this rule, Isaac? Oh, descriptive audio.
Yeah, I mean,
Is this
it's an example of like searching for content like that could be modified.
Okay, so now we have the rule saved, but now we have to create a set. And like, I'm not, yeah, we don't want to do all records. So let's say ebooks to test 520 indication rule. Amanda, hope you don't mind that I'm just in here doing stuff.
You're good because it's not me that you have to worry about. Teresa's the one that does the cataloging and worries about all of this. So
Well, I'm not going to change anything, and I'll talk to her. See. Okay, so now we want all titles and how do we search ebooks?
Do you just want to like search for the link to the community zone? like, or ebooks in particular.
Yeah, well, because I guess we could just do, yeah, like,
Could you search on portfolios instead of all titles?
Well, we want to look at the bibs, so we don't want
yeah,
portfolio.
so we
Mm.
need the link, the, no, maybe material type, but there's no ebook.
You could search
mean-
on bibliographic information, couldn't you, though? You could search on title information if you select electronic portfolios as the first index.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
you
then
need
the
to create.
set won't have the right info for the indication rule.
Yeah, you'd need to like turn it into a title set afterwards.
Mm.
Which you could do it that way, but you would have to convert it to a title set.
Okay. How do you convert it to a title set if it's not a title set to start with?
It's like one of the options on the ellipsis after you make the portfolio set or the, you know, the items or the physical item set. You can like, it's one of the
Okay, so if we create a logical set, ebooks to test.
The problem is it does itemize it.
Which
So,
shouldn't be a problem.
right, just
this
like going forward
application.
if you want to use it to,
Yeah,
but if it's one time, it doesn't matter.
Mhm. Okay, so electronic portfolios. And we want material type in this one. Okay, save. Great, and now we can itemize first and then change.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's gonna take a second. More than a second. Okay, so let's, while we're waiting for this, pursue the Eluna group that might be able to create a community zone norm rule. So which one, like working groups?
I think there's a working group for the community zone.
Oh, advisory group. CDI? No.
There was a content working group. Would that be it?
Mm,
Oh, no.
I don't think so.
I've seen notices on the Alma L list, but I never really paid attention to the details.
Yeah, right. Content. Maybe it's just part of the Alma working group. Enhancement. Or maybe it's the Primo one. This has got to be potentially. Okay. Primo working group. Annual meeting.
Search for community zone. Because I think it's specifically a
Oh,
community
okay.
zone working group.
CDI? Advisory group? Okay, so I may have to do a little more poking to see if we can't figure that out. Okay, so where is it? Okay, so now here's the itemized one. And create title set. Oh, thanks. Isaac taught us something new again. So this will go. And then we can run the indication rule on that set and find out just how many. I still don't exactly know what to do with that information. I was like, there's not like a bulk change. You could somehow, one of the solutions that Bellingham was considering was like suppressing those 50 titles since it was only 50 titles, but like I don't think that's, like great either, because then you're removing content from discoverability. So there is this continuing to build out before sharing. Great, super helpful. Okay, so now we have the titles one, and now we can filter the set on this indication rule that we wrote. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, because the only thing that I could kind of figure out with like, how would you capture all those descriptions and then correct them would be to capture the records and suppress the description field, potentially by like moving the 520 to a different non-visible field. But then I was like, that seems like a bad idea as well. Oh, and Bellingham also, they say they had like 10 physical items that had click here in the description. Great. Okay. So a link in the 856, is it considered accessible? And Kirsty says 856 for MARC records are clickable links. URLs anywhere else in the record are just strings of text. Yeah, so suppressing or replacing specific language with the norm rule, but like it's so variable, how would you, I couldn't. Okay, so it's still working. Yes, quirky calculators was 5 goofy ones that weren't behaving for Amanda. Okay, well, that's still working on it. But yeah, so I think this is an interesting discussion of how, like, what kind of accessibility issues with records might we want to kind of build a list of. Like, for example, URLs anywhere other than 856 are not clickable. So like, how can we address it? How could Eluna and a working group address it? What might Ex Libris be able to do? You know, like, we shouldn't have to do all of the work, because that's going to be an accessibility issue for anyone. So, you know, like, maybe if we come up with some problems like that, we could bring that discussion to like the big community. Yeah, a simple solution would be Ex Libris makes all the links hyperlinks. But like, one of the hyperlinks that I found was, click here to listen live to this 2013 radio interview. Like, what? Like, why would that be in the description? So yeah, there's definitely something there that, like, it's probably always been a problem, and perhaps the Title II deadline is a little bit of leverage for people to work together to at least fix some of the bad bib records. So anyway, well, that's in, yeah, this is just, yeah, it's not index. So yeah, but I appreciate the insights and information that you guys were able to share, since this problem, like, just kind of popped up, and I could tell it was going to be something that, you know, everybody was going to find some. You know, maybe we can noodle on actions, try a couple different things. You know, like, if you do only have 50 records, maybe it's not crazy to go in and, you know, copy those to the catalog and make the corrections that you want to see, and then just deal with any future, like, well, that bib isn't getting corrected from the CZ anymore. But from, this list, we could see that there were many like more than even my first search. A GitHub. What's the GitHub? Oh. Okay. Oofed. Yeah, it is. That's a lot of fun regex. These are always kind of like beautiful to look at, but also like deeply like humbling. Victoria has an off-topic question. Possibly getting new self-check units. Who else is doing self-check, and what company do you go through?
We have Biblioteca. We have one self-check and it's mad expensive. Would not recommend.
Is it one of like the newer tablet ones, or is it like a station,
Yeah,
like a
it's
PC
like a,
station?
I mean, I've been here like almost 4 years and it's like a platform with a screen on an arm.
Mhm.
We do have that's a separate service, Bobby, that includes gates. So we also have security gates through them. It was part of our capital project, I think, and our IT continues to pay like $11,000 a year or something crazy stupid for it. It's not heavily used.
Because our gates, our gate counter here at Puyallup, stopped working when they were turning power on and off for the new building. We think it fried our fridge and the gates. So
Boy,
so yeah, we're looking, maybe we have a cheap gate counter right now, but possibly maybe replacing the gate counter, but mainly it's Christy's looking for possibly a self-check units since ours here doesn't work. And yeah, they were old PCs that just don't work anymore.
the State Department of Enterprise Services will be releasing the RFID provider service, folks. Oh my God, Leo, calm down. And some of that will include like the RFID adjacent tech and hardware from those companies like Biblioteca. So there may be an opportunity for some savings when that is announced. There were only 2 companies that made it through and qualified for evaluation for the library section of the inventory. It's officially an inventory management system, but and I don't even know if I don't know if I was even, if they blacked out like what the 2 companies are in the evaluation that I need to do here in the next couple weeks. But Bellevue, Nicole says they don't have a gate anymore. We currently use an Xbox Connect for counts, but it is no longer supported. I did a search once because, like lots of places want gate counts. And there are some pretty simple, like non-security incorporated gate count technology. Green River, Jennifer, regarding the problem using quotes in Primo search that Kirsty sent in the listserv, do we know when a fix might be applied? gonna go ahead and say there's no timeline. Leo.
But I will note that the verbatim CDI search that's causing the problem, if you're, for any of us on Primo VE, which is all of us, we can submit a support ticket and ask Ex Libris to turn off the verbatim search. Oh, but it looks like Nauco says that the fix may be applied tomorrow. Is that right, Nauco?
Oh.
Yay, we have developed and tested a resolution for the verbatim search issue and will deploy a hot fix for it. The hot fix will be implemented on Wednesday, November 2nd. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hot
Posting that in the
fix?
chat.
What does that mean, hot fix?
That's a Band-Aid. Might not work long term, but okay, well, this indication rule is gonna take like forever to run. Yeah, because it's searching. Yeah. So we'll now have this set. Again, I don't know exactly what to do with it, but I thought like getting some collective wisdom on, you know, like how to create a set might be helpful as we can continue to like consider the accessibility ramifications of records. This was a concrete problem that was brought to my attention that I was like, we can think about this one. But yeah.
Could you turn this into a ticket to get them to address these community zone records?
I
Since
mean,
you
I
built
think if
it,
I put it in as a support ticket, they would say that sounds like an enhancement request.
oh,
But I think I want to poke around a little bit and maybe talk to some of the people on the Primo working group and see what they think. Yeah. And again, you know, like, I don't know how the Primo NDE is going to, you know, handle content in the 520. Maybe there'll be normals for display for NDE that make those URLs clickable. So also want to like work on that. Why are the dogs annoying me today? Oh my word. They're so clingy. Come on. So yeah, I think there's a little bit to explore, but it's a good place to kind of start a conversation about what can we do about accessibility, even if it's only like making that list of this is a systemic problem that could be addressed by the community or by Ex Libris, so that, you know, we can start pushing on it or figure out a local solution that we could share out. But yeah, I do know that in a couple of weeks, we're going to revisit some of the electronic resource management linking stuff. And I've kind of been able to get some more clarification on when and why to use some of those additional kind of the link resolver plugin things, the parameters, you know, things like that. So if you have questions or you're working on it, like keep notes, reach out so that we can incorporate that. That'll be on December 10th. We have an open call next Tuesday. Nope, we don't have an open call at all next week because I was like, hey, it's Thanksgiving week, and I bet a lot of people will be the only staff in the building if they're in the building. So Kirsty asking in chat, Sushi Stats harvesting working in Alma, but we haven't set up any Alma analytic reports for those. Yes, we can definitely do a meeting to look at the sushi reports. I will review the individual ones that worked for last year's iPads and kind of just put together like, hey, make sure that you have included one of the ones that I've found can be really helpful, that you like if you've not activated every single report pull, is the TRB3 and the JRB3, because I was trying to look at some of the open access data, and the B1s exclude all gold open access. So if you're doing like a TR or a JR B1, or yeah, then you want the B3 or the J1 and the J3. Anyway, I will put that together, but definitely January we'll chat sushi and usage reports because I like them. And yeah, so then our next open call will be December 3rd, and I actually have what I may do instead of like a Carly open call is invite everybody to join the same webinar that I have registered for. That is navigating changes to the scholarly literature research process using generative AI. Because, you know, like, how is AI affecting the research process? I think even if, you know, our users aren't necessarily big researchers, there's probably some takeaways that we can pull from it. But, you know, like, I'll send out a thing and be like, hey, do we want to like do this? And if people are like, nah, then I'll just get the recording and I'll review it and we'll do it later. But yeah. Okay, well, yeah.
That webinar was coming in January, you said?
No, that's on December 3rd.
Oh, on the 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, let me see.
I've done some focus group work at our college about how students are using AI. It's been interesting to see how they use it as like a translation tool, more than research, right? But yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, so it's from Choice 360. It's totally free. And just how like generative AI can impact search and discovery behaviors. And it also includes, of course, it's sponsored by Elsevier, but the kind of AI that Elsevier is integrating into their platform is not so different than what a lot of our publishers and aggregators are integrating. So, you know, could give us some insights. I'll send an email if people are like overwhelmingly interested. We can, you know, feel free to register. And if I just get a lot of like, no, please let's have an open call on something else, then we can.
I might connect with George too. He was here couple weeks ago and demoing EBSCO's AI connection that they're gonna roll out within the next year. It could be worthwhile having like a really localized discussion, not just like the national conversation. Both are good, but yeah, that might be worthwhile for a future call.
Yeah, well, and it's been a while since we've had like vendor visits from our content providers. So it might be good to do like February or March, have some get some vendor love and see what's going on so we can kind of navigate that. Well, since I won't see you guys for at least 2 weeks. Have a great holiday. Please let me know if there's anything that I can help you with or bring to the group or put onto our schedule. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of just work on getting the NDE dev environment going so that we can see what the heck it is. Because it'd be nice to be able to know what is going to be needed to migrate or not. So Isaac has added a another normal rule into chat for Primo V display subject 650 when Mark 520 has any content, then yeah, no, can't translate that, but I will take a look at it. So thanks so much, everyone, and yeah, have a great rest of